Hello, welcome everyone. It is FMC. I am Jeremy. That is SP3. It is Tuesday, May 7th. SP3, we got a lot to talk about. We not only got basketball, finally I can talk rap with someone who understands things instead of
I, I
Joel.
was like, I was like, I was so confused. I was like, this guy's talking about music on a wrestling show again, and it's
Well,
and
yeah.
it, and you're sitting up here, two white boys talking about rap. And I was like,
Hey,
I was like, I was like, I was like, you couldn't even get a special guest like Righteous Reg.
they got their own show. Like I don't want to step on Grapsody with
That's
Reg
fair.
and
That's fair.
Phil. Like that's why I don't just like pop on to Grapsody because I don't want to be like a unwelcome guest on their show. Let me talk
You
about
don't want to
rap
be
with these
Drake.
guys. I don't want to be Drake. I get it. Two white guys talking about rap is not typically, but Ellie Joel just
Hey, it was main channel Monday. I get it.
it was mentioned on Monday. Joel self-admitted like he doesn't follow that kind of stuff. Like at least me, I've at least listened to rap basically my
Oh, I
entire
know.
life. So I'm not just
I
coming in
know
blind.
you're a rap fan,
Yeah,
and I know Joel does music, so it made sense. I just had to get my joke off.
no,
I'm
it's fair. I get it. I get it. Dude, anything to avoid talking about wrestling. Are you kidding me? I don't want to talk about wrestling at all. I was vindicated, by the way, when I was like, "Hey, they got way too many matches on this wrestling show here. They
And
need to
then they
cut some
cut.
of those."
They went to cut it. I was like, oh, everybody thought false advertising was a thing of the past. Like, nope.
I was like, "There's too many matches on this wrestling show. Get out of here! I don't want to watch 8 wrestling matches on my wrestling show. I need
Like
longer promos."
we need time for our one shots and stuff. What are we doing
Yeah.
here?
We do got a lot to talk about. Not wrestling. We are going to talk more Kendrick and Drake because SP3 is doing star ratings for tracks out here. I appreciate it. I respect it.
I hit up Brother True Hill. He's producer this morning. I was like, anyway, you can like clip that from this week's podcast, so we could make that its own video. Because now you can add and you can play Kendrick's music on air
Yeah,
because
yeah, you can. Yeah, he hasn't
Kendrick,
copyrighted anything.
yeah,
Yeah,
Kendrick removing all copyright. I was like, yo, this dude knows he let everybody eat this week.
yeah. He like you know it's good for the content creators. It's good for him because it gets his music out there even
Yeah.
more for the people who are watching that kind of stuff. And it's a perception war, right? Like if people can review his stuff, listen to his stuff on air, and you can't listen to Drake's, it's gonna be Kendrick's winning. Here, let's start with this. Who cares about basketball right now? Let's start
No, who
with this.
cares? This is the hottest thing. Like that's why I said our producer didn't know what we was talking about. I was like, you're gonna learn. I'm gonna break it down. I've been watching all the videos. I went down the rabbit hole this week before I did my star ratings. I was like, I gotta do the star ratings on True Hill Heat. We did it on a Sunday. Gotta have a hook. So I did the star ratings, but I was like, I gotta go down the rabbit hole and learn how this all started. I had to go back a freaking decade to find
Yep.
back everything that has gone on here. Then I saw all the 20v1 reference and all the people that hate Drake right now and all the reasons, the different reasons why he hates me. Oh my god, it's so riveting. This is the most interested I've been in hip hop in I think at least a decade.
I mean, it started with Control, really.
Yeah.
If you want to go back, that's where it like really started
And
between
that's when I was tapped in
yeah.
on hip hop, and I remember that song, and I was like, oh man, Kendrick just laid down the gauntlet. I was like, I like this kid. I like at that time he was a kid. It was like, I like this new kid. He's doing his thing. All right, laid down the gauntlet for everybody, and I remember that everybody was like, oh man, it's an honor. It's an honor to be mentioned. That means you're a good rapper. Everybody was like that, and Drake was the only one who got butt hurt over it.
Yeah, well, the responses to Control all sucked. No one had a good
True.
response to it. But yeah, Drake was the one who kind of took it more personal than everybody else instead of just let's keep it rap. And then there was sneak disses over the past year and everything. And then it was first person shooter where it was Drake and J. Cole. And that's when J. Cole did the big 3 line. and Kendrick was possibly supposed to be on that song, according to some sources.
Yeah, and then J. Cole mentioning K Dot on it, just it was like the trigger. It was like that was the trigger. You said first person shooter. You pulled the trigger when you said his name, and then J. Cole was like, "I'm Muhammad Ali. There's a big three, but I'm Muhammad Ali. So what that makes me?" I was like, "Yo." Like Drake did not mention him on first person shooter. So this is all J. Cole's fault. J. Cole started the fire, then said, "I'm sorry."
J. Cole was smart. J. Cole's like, I'm getting out of here. I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
Apparently,
like,
Schoolboy
no,
Q.
that guy's crazy. He's like,
Yeah. Apparently, Schoolboy Q said, you don't want to do this. I think possibly, maybe, in replay and thinking about it, maybe not, but maybe Kendrick would have kept it like just friendly with J. Cole, just keep it like competitive rap, because he kind of was trying to do that with Drake. Because Euphoria is just like, hey, let's keep it rap, let's keep it just competitive. I mean, he mentions friendly fade. We don't have to get personal, but he
exactly. And
knew,
he warned him. He warned
yeah,
that was like a warning shot. That was like a
yes,
little, it was like the like that was a jab. Drake coming back with push-ups was like a hook, but then Euphoria was just like the overhand. It was the overhand, like, oh, okay, all right, I see what power you got. That's a warning.
Tailor Made was a miss. That
Yeah,
was
that was
between
he
rounds
whipped.
where
He whipped Taylor
I
Made.
actually re-listened to that yesterday. I'd only listened to it when it first came out, and I was like, this is embarrassing. I re-listened to it yesterday. It's not as bad as I initially thought it was. Like, the lyrics are fine. The issue is obviously the AI, and that like the Pac and Snoop flow suck because it's just Drake's flow using their AI voices. And obviously Drake sounds nothing like Pac and Snoop. But like lyrically, it's okay in that like he tries to essentially predict Kendrick's angles the way Kendrick predicted his angles. Like, oh, talk about him liking girls, and why aren't you going after him for this and for that and type of thing. Like, this is what you need to do to be the savior. Like the content of it isn't the worst in the world.
No, that's why I gave it 2 stars. That's why I give it
It's
2 stars. It
still
it was serviceable if you just listen to the Drake part. If you get past the AI and you just listen to the Drake part, you will be like, all right, there's some decent stuff there, but it wasn't. It was a misfire on the double drop, and then Kendrick basically showed you how to do the double drop twice.
Euphoria, I thought like that has the most replay value to me because it's just hater bars. I love it. Love all the hater bars. And then 616 in LA was also really good. That was like the mind. Okay, we're 5 minutes in. That was the mind fuck track right there, where he's like, have you ever thought OVO is working for me? Given like your whole crew is compromised here, and what are you going to do about it? Like, that's the one where it made you just like doubt yourself of,
Mhm.
oh shit, who's actually around me here right now.
That was
And
playing
then
off of Drake's insecurities in a lot of
yeah,
ways, and especially him using it 616 in LA with Drake
the
with his
timestamps,
timestamps.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Drake came back with Family Matters, which I didn't think was bad.
I
That
thought I
second,
thought Family Matters was great. That
yeah,
was a great response in my opinion, especially coming with the video as well of him destroying the van. Mad Kid.
the
like
second
that.
verse, the second verse I could have lived without
Oh, the
because
second verse, it's because he wants to, he's really trying to, he in this song, like the second verse was him basically being like, I'm really trying to get over the fact that this is 20v1. So I gotta address everybody else. Because honestly, the second verse went hard. On especially on Rakim, on Rocket ASAP Rocky. He
the
was like,
second, like,
you was effing my baby my bed. Hey, who was I hitting that? Oh, that was great. I was like, that was a great line. And then his final verse was Drake the comedian, which I feel like he should go back. He should have went back into more, because Drake is really funny on the low. Like when he was like, Kendrick is rapping again. Somebody hand him a Grammy right now. I was like, yo, he got me. That was good. That was a good one.
The third verse I thought was fantastic because he easily flows over that beat. The second verse, I know why he did it, because Kendrick said, "We don't want to hear you say the N word no more." And so the second verse, the N word was every other word, because he wanted to just like, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say this entire verse, and I'm going to go after everybody on this who, since you're for the culture, you're what the culture's feeling. I'm going to go after everybody in the culture while saying this word. And it's just like, again, Kendrick predicted basically these angles of like, all right, I know what you're gonna do here. Like, you think you are for the culture, you think you are just you were part of Black culture, and I'm telling you, culture's not feeling you. We don't like how you say this word, and then Drake just goes out and does it, and
That's
it's
why I like the beginning of the song. He's
yeah.
like, maybe you shouldn't start a nigga, you're mad. I was like, all right, that was good. That was a good start. And that's what I said, like, Family Matters was Drake's best output in this whole beef. Like, I gave that one 4.5 stars. That's a great matchup. On any other year, that would be the best track of this whole diss. But he didn't even let him have a victory lap. Like, yo, the funniest one is I think it's RDC. RDC, I forget the rest of it, but they have a funny channel where they do skits and parodies, and they did the skit of Kendrick in the studio after Drake dropped Family Matters, and all you see is him with the hoodie on in the studio. It's all dark, and his people come in. It's like, Drake just dropped. He was like, no, they come in. He was like, yo, Kendrick. He was like, what? Drake just dropped? He was like, yeah. He was like, don't worry. And then it goes to Drake in his studio, and he's like, oh yeah, Family Matters. And they're going out to the club, and then one of his boys is like, yo, Drake. And he's like playing Meet the Gram. it's like, and then it goes 5 minutes later, and everybody in the room is just like, damn, man. He was like, which one of y'all is snitching? Which one of y'all told him? Yo, I was like, yo, like, Meet the Grams. That is like, oh my God. He didn't even give him time to take the lap. He did it an hour after. Like, he gave him no time to have any momentum in this beef after Euphoria, really, because he comes out with Family Matters. He comes out with Meet the Grams, which is one of the coldest, vile, sinister diss tracks of all time.
I said it was, to use a basketball comparison, Drake was down 1 with 30 seconds remaining, and he hit a 3 to go up 2 with 10 seconds remaining, and then call a timeout. Okay, everyone settled. And then Kendrick hit a buzzer beater 3 and it's like, you got to celebrate that 2-point lead for 10 whole seconds. And then he just drained that 3 at the buzzer to beat you. And that was it. It was like, what it was, Miami and Boston last year. Remember Derek White hit the put back on Jason Tatum's shot as the buzzer expired, and it looked like Miami was going to win the series, and that was it. And then Derek White comes in and saves. I mean, Miami at least went on to still win the series. Drake didn't win the series, but that's what it felt like. That's how long his celebration got to last on when he dropped Family Matters. Because Meet the Grams came. Look, that was it. That was it right there.
That was it. That's a knockdown blow. Like, I've been saying, like Family Matters, like Drake got fall back with Euphoria. Euphoria was like the stutter. He stuttered back, then he got back in position, and then he got a jab with 616 in LA. But then Drake came back with the combination on him. He came back with the combination with the Family Matters hook, jab, overhead. Then he was dancing on him, but then he got hit with Meet the Grams, and then he fell down. He's down, and everybody's like, yo, 1, 2, yo, get up, drop right now, get up. And like it was 24 hours later that like, yo, you're not supposed to do that in boxing, Kendrick. You're not supposed to stomp their head like you're Seth
It's an MMA
Rollins.
fight now. It's an
Oh
MMA
my
fight
god, it's an
now.
MMA fight. Like he H-bombed him like he's dragging off and shit. Like right when he's on the ground and he's like this with Meet the Grams, and then he drops. That's gonna be the song of the summer. Not Like Us. It's the song. It's already a rap. It's the song of the summer. People are gonna be crip walking to Drake being a pedophile. That is, I did not think I would ever say something like that about a mainline top 5 pop artists, that they will be crip walking and dancing in hoods, lowriders up and down Compton, playing Not Like Us all summer long.
It is amazing how, like, it's a catchy song, but it's amazing that it's a catchy song, and yes, it is a pedophile song. I woke up and that song was stuck in my head. I was like,
I played it.
I'm gonna do my stuff.
Trying to troll him. Aren't you tired? Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably A minor.
Oh, that line killed me. The delivery is so good.
There's so many great lines in that song, man. Like, Drake, I heard you like I'm young. You better not end up in cell block 1.
It is a pedophile dance song, which should not exist, but it does. It does. And then Drake comes in, for now, ends it as in, like, no one's dropped anything yet. The Heart Part 6, where he sounds tired.
Wave the white flag. He was like,
yeah,
wave this white flag here.
He sounds tired. He's like, oh, you got 10 more songs. Go ahead, drop them. I'm done. It's a nice workout for my pen. Like, you can't say you're done. You can't, like, you are admitting defeat. Even if you think you won, you can't say you were done, because that's admitting defeat. And like his angle on that song too, it's like, we gave you a week. We set all this up for a week and you fell for it about the 11-year-old daughter. It's like, all right, so your goal was to give him fake information to diss you with, but then you had no immediate counter for that.
Like, why didn't you immediately post a screenshot? Why didn't you immediately post a video with you? Like, come on, dog. And the fact that there are actual Drake fans that like are questioning this and believing this nonsense. Like, it was like, oh, Kendrick hasn't provided any facts. Neither has Drake. That's the point of a rap battle. You don't have to tell the truth. You don't have to tell the truth. We are judging it on how well you insult the other person. You can insult them with anything. And the fact of the matter is stuff that Drake has said about Kendrick, with him beating his wife, with his manager being his one of his kids' father and stuff like that. There is no substantial proof or anything that would make you believe that or jump onto that, besides her being friends with Dave Free and not Kendrick on Instagram. And that's
which apparently has been a thing for a while, that like she hasn't followed Kendrick but has followed him. That's apparently been a thing for like years. So this isn't like new information.
It's not new information, but neither is a lot of the stuff Kendrick has said about Drake, because there are now videos coming out. There are now people coming out that like there is receipts with the stuff that Kendrick has said about Drake, where you can come up with the narrative of how he is saying these things about Drake.
Yeah, Louis saying lying is the point. It is. Yes. It's fine if you lie. If it's factual information like Pusha T had, like, even better on this. But it's okay to rap battle. Like, no one's judging off of truth and lies here. We're judging on the content and how the content is delivered. And Kendrick delivered his content way, way better. Drake also, he screwed up in a number of ways, but
I wanted us to break down how bad this is. Like like we saw historic stuff this week in hip hop.
Yes.
Like I said, Meet the Grams is one of like the hardest, coldest diss tracks ever. But like you never, like I said before, we never heard a freaking club banger about a rap artist being a pedophile. Like that's history. That's history making, and like it's from the Bay Area with DJ Mustard and all that stuff. Like it's icon. That's gonna be iconic. Whether you think I'm a prisoner of the moment or recency bias, like not like us is gonna be iconic in years to come. But also, the Heart Part 6 might be one of the first self-owns in hip hop history. They're like, dude, I'm too famous to be a pedophile. Is one of the, like, if the whole point of your song is to defend yourself, he did a bad job defending himself. I've never looked at a teenager more than once. What?
There's that great clip from Always Sunny where they're trying to write a song, and Frank comes in. He's like, guys, we gotta write a song about not diddling kids. We don't diddle kids. We didn't diddle these kids. And Frank and Mac are like, why would we do that? Or not Frank, Dennis and Mac are like, why? And Charlie, why would we do this? Like, that just makes us look guilty. He's like, no. If we say we don't do it, no one's gonna think we don't diddle kids. Da, 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 da. We don't, like, we're not doing this. This makes us look guilty. Like, no, we have to. It's a great, people have referenced it. If you go on Twitter, just Google like Always Sunny Drake.
That's awesome.
That's exactly what it sounds like. It sounds like Frank coming in there like, just write we don't diddle kids. They'll believe us if that's what we're right. Like, no. This makes you sound guilty. Like, what are you gonna say? Like, I'm too famous, I would get caught. No, that's why you wouldn't get caught. Is because you are famous and you can cover this stuff up. What are we talking about here? What are we doing? Not only that, but his whole angle on, besides he doesn't, he's not a pedophile because he's too famous for that. The other angle is, Mother I Sober, in
he didn't know what the song was about.
Yeah. Like, what? Did you not listen to the song? He completely missed the message of that. I saw that Mr. Morale and Big Steppers is now like re-entered the top 10 streaming, and people are like, your diss track was so bad, everybody re-listened to this album to prove that you were wrong. Like,
that's awesome. But like, yo, like it's wrong on so many levels. Like, first of all, if you did think the song was about Kendrick being molested, that is not a good reason to say that's why he's calling you a pedophile. Yeah. Like, oh, you got molested. That's why you're so concerned about these people that I'm taking advantage of. Like, what? Like, what? That makes Kendrick look good. Like, what are you doing here? And then secondly, you didn't get the song right. It was his mother. And his mother was concerned that he was. You're not doing your homework like Kendrick is. Kendrick is tapped in. Whether it be leaking, whether it be the false information you're leaking out to him or the real information that's out there, he is calling you out, and then people are supporting it with your weird relationship with Millie Bobby Brown, 11 from Stranger Things, that whole thing. And I wasn't really tapped in. That kind of went over my head when I heard about it. I heard about it one time. I saw the interview where she was talking about it, and then I didn't register that, yeah, she was 14 and he was 33. When they was like texting each other and have this, okay, that's kind of weird, but all right. But then it's like, then I saw all the other young stars that he has like close relationship with, and I'm like, okay, it's fair game then. Yeah, it's fair to say that you're like this because you have this kind of trend. There's a trend that's going on. If there's a trail of you being close to these young stars or going out with, what was it, Haley, I forgot her last name, when she just turned 18 and y'all have been friends for 4 years, like, yeah, I understand why Kendrick would go that route, but there is nothing for you to go that on the routes that you went with Kendrick. So it's just like you lost on so many levels here. Like, I was talking to Jimmy yesterday. I was like, it almost feels as bad as like, this feels like Machine Gun Kelly, Eminem bad. Like Drake's gonna have to he's already laid it out that he can go into R&B and pop. So I think that that might be his route. Like I think he killed him. He killed him in hip hop.
People have mentioned this in the chat about the story of the Drake shooting outside of Drake's home in Toronto. I'm looking at this now. One man was seriously injured in the gunfire, rushed to the hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. There's not too much information on it right now. We will see as the story unfolds. If something happens during our show, we'll make sure to mention it. Hopefully everything's okay.
Yeah.
If we don't need people dying over this.
Yeah.
But real hip hop's back that we're doing shootings over rap beefs again. With Drake, he has always he transcended rap for the longest time. Like that's where, he went to pop and he made it big in pop. And that's where a lot of his fan base come from is the world of pop. And Kendrick, like, of course, made sure to he referenced that Drake is kind of gone outside of rap, but he also references how he used rap. And that's the bigger reference for Kendrick of like, you came up hip hop, like, all right, fine. But now he basically accused him of being a culture vulture with everything. And like Kendrick has always been the more respected hip hop artist. I don't think that's really out a reach on anything. I think everyone just accepts for right reasons, in my opinion, that Kendrick's the better rap artist. And so he out-rapped them at every turn on this. And then he basically called out Drake for, hey, you are only in this culture because you felt you could benefit from this culture. And then when it doesn't benefit you, that's why you continue to go outside of it. That's why like the angles Drake took this entire thing, like we can look at big picture angles of, all right, I can look at big picture angles of I'm not a pedophile. We fed you this information and all this stuff. But even the other stuff of like, oh, you got to do a verse for the Swifties. You got to do a verse for Maroon 5. It's like, dude, this is also your lane as well. Like, what are you doing calling him out for doing these verses when like you are way more in tune with pop music and doing these kind of verses than Kendrick is. So his whole game plan, whatever it was, wasn't good, because usually Drake is he's good about this stuff. He is calculated about this stuff. He knows how to use the internet specifically and just his celebrity. He knows how to use that to his advantage, because that's a big advantage he has, is he is online. He does have a fan base that a lot of artists, like no matter what genre, don't have. And usually he uses that to his advantage, and he's calculated with that. And he was just played at every single turn here. He seemed confused. And like your big reply to Meet the Grams was, LOL, he's talking about me having an 11-year-old daughter. Like that's what he put on Instagram a couple minutes, hours after the track dropped. It's like, if you knew this was coming, you didn't have the receipts of like, look what we texted him. You didn't have a video. You didn't even have a song to respond immediately.
If he immediately came back with the Heart Part 6 after Meet the Grams, we would be looking at this whole beef differently.
Yeah. If he came back with that, or I mean, he could have cut out a lot of that, because the Heart Part.
No, he could have cut off a lot of that. But having something to be like, oh, you talking about the daughter that we told you about and made you lying? Oh, you listened. He would have made him look dumb, but he didn't respond like that. He allowed Kendrick to come out with Not Like Us, which was that was it.
He was cut off at every turn. I mean, basically, if you listen to almost the intro of Euphoria, that predicts the whole battle. That predicts every single like turn of this battle. And that's why I think Euphoria, like, I think it's the best track as far as replayability. It's not the most biting track. Meet the Grams, when you
Yeah,
factor in timing and content, that's the most biting track. Not Like Us is
I think
the
that's the
track
most
that's,
replayable.
yeah,
That's
that's
gonna
the
be
most, that's the one that's gonna stick with most people because like it beats Drake at his own game in a
exactly.
way.
Like Drake
Um
had the moniker of he can make a claim to say, "I have the biggest hit diss song of all
yeah,
time with back to back." What he did with Meek Mill's like a little less than a decade ago, but like Not Like Us blows that out the water.
well, that's one thing Drake kind of says in the battle is like, "Oh, don't worry, you can make as many records as you want. I'm gonna have the hit record on this." It's like, well, you not only made the least amount of records compared to Kendrick, maybe it was even, but you also didn't even have the biggest hit on this battle. Like, you're the one thing that you wanted to latch onto of who can you can drop 10 diss tracks, doesn't matter. It ain't gonna get played as much as one track that I play. It's like, nope, he got your beat on the hits as well. Like, he tried to at least take credit the first time with really Euphoria, but when he did Family Matters, he's like, we know why it's getting played this much. Give me, go ahead, give me the paper for
Yeah.
that. It's because you're dissing me. And like, all right, maybe, but then Not Like Us. It's like, it's getting played because of you, but also this is a really good dance song. And like, even if it wasn't about you, this thing was going to get played because it's just a good song.
It's one of the it's one of the best beats I've heard in like years. It's
It's
been
really good.
years since I heard a beat that goes that hard that instantly makes you want to dance.
It's a good song. Like, it's a good dance song. I still prefer Euphoria for bar wise. Like, to me,
I do like
that's a,
the intro for Euphoria because I think it's the Oz. He has Richard Pryor in the Oz. That's what the that's Richard Pryor saying,
yeah,
I'm fake, I'm a phony, they're gonna find out.
yeah, yeah. I like Euphoria the best as far as just like, it's just so, the hater bars does are what does
I
it
hate the way
for me.
man, WWE loved this so much. They mentioned Kendrick twice on the show
They
last night.
did. They did. I just like hater bars that aren't super biting. It's just like my favorite line, maybe besides the A minor line, which is hilarious. My other favorite line is just like, some shit's just cringeworthy. It ain't even that deep, I guess.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I just don't even like you for this
I don't
reason.
even like what you say.
Yeah. Like, some
We
of the
don't
shit
want
you
to
do,
hear.
man, I don't really have a reason to dislike it. It's just cringeworthy to me. Like,
It don't
that's
even
just a
have to
level
be
of
deep,
hate
I
right there.
guess.
Yeah. Like, that's just a level of hate that just, again, it doesn't have to be that personal. Just, you know what, man? I just don't like the way you do this. That's all. That's all it is.
Like I knew Kendrick was good lyrically. I didn't know he was this funny. I like he's
Oh,
Eminem 50 levels of funny when it comes to like beef going at somebody. Like his wit is up there. Oh my god.
yeah,
And the wordplay.
you can't beat Kendrick is by far my favorite rapper since Eminem, and because he is lyrically very good, and the storytelling that he brings to the table is also top notch. So I'm not surprised Kendrick won the battle lyrically. I'm a little surprised Kendrick won the battle when it came to the perception of everything, because it's tough to out perceive Drake. It's tough to outdo him and Kendrick at every single turn. And this is where I think Drake really messed up. Like, you shot a 3-part video for Family Matters and you didn't shoot any footage of you feeding him stuff, anything like that. Like, what? You knew this was coming, but you didn't have a response prepared? Huh? It's tough to believe. It's tough to
Yeah,
believe.
I know Drake fans were saying like there's a picture of the girl that was supposed to be his
Yeah.
daughter in the Family Matters video. I was like,
Yeah.
no, that's Drake just trying to come up with a narrative, actually. Like,
I mean, it's like it's possible that's all true. I'm not saying that this isn't true that because I don't know what's fact and fiction on some of these songs. Again,
all I know is that one person was like, "Oh, where's the paperwork? Where's the fact?" I'm talking nothing but facts, but they have presented none. They're just saying
neither
they are.
has right.
I
Like,
know, but only one of them is saying that they
yeah,
are that the other side is not providing proof. I'm speaking facts. Kendrick never said that. Kendrick is doing what Beef is supposed to do. Does not matter what information is wrong, right,
no one
indifferent. I'm gonna spit. I'm gonna make these songs.
right. No one cares about fact and fiction in this stuff. Like, just come up with a
These
good
are
bar.
these are some scathing things to say about each other, though. So
Yeah, they are. It really, really is. I mean, Drake, yeah, he needs to come up with some proof as well to say these things. But you're right in that, like, Drake's the only one that seems concerned about proof when he's also saying stuff that he doesn't have proof of. Kendrick's just saying shit. He ain't saying, like, I'm trying to prove any of this. He's just going to say it. And, Drake doesn't really have a great response to it. Drake's proof is I'm too famous. If I actually did this, I would have been caught. Like, all right, buddy. Okay.
okay, Harvey Weinstein. That's why he pulled the Tony Khan and compared you to Harvey Weinstein. Oh man, that was great.
Remorse Betrayal asking, did Kendrick and M do songs together? The only one I remember is Game of Love off of Marshall Mathers LP2. Kendrick tells a story of when they were writing that song or writing something. Because I think they wrote some stuff together for the NWA, the Compton album, the Dre Compton album. Kendrick tells a story of like Eminem kicks all of Kendrick's entourage out of like the studio. He's like, nah, all you guys gotta go. And to like see if Kendrick was actually like writing these songs and if he was like, or if he was like getting help for bars and stuff. Kendrick's like, yeah, he kicked everyone out the studio. He's like, it's not that he didn't believe that I wasn't writing, but like he just really wanted to test me and see like were people helping me or was I doing all this myself? So everyone got kicked out of the studio and it's just me writing. He's writing it. And then I go in there and he was like, oh, okay, it is just this dude. Because M has like respect for Drake. He tells the story of I guess Drake helped his daughter with something, which now in hindsight doesn't look great. But he does like M also doesn't like ghostwriters. Like he hates that shit because he's written everything. So he hates the ghostwriter stuff. But he's always said like he respects Drake. But the ghostwriter stuff is M's not a fan of any of that. Jeff Driver saying Drake pulled the Frank Riddle's "Don't Diddle Kids" song. Yeah, I referenced that earlier. Don't diddle kids. We don't diddle kids. We gotta make sure we say this. Like, no, why? Why are we saying this? Huh?
No, you're validating the lie. That's why I had to tell a Drake fan this week. He was like, "Why didn't Kendrick defend himself? I'm gonna believe him. I'm gonna believe Drake if he doesn't defend himself." I was like, "No, you validate the lie by even addressing it." And he already kind of did address it when he said you would lie. So he doesn't need to come out now and defend it.
That's the biggest, like, I don't want to say it's the best bar because it's not full on, like we've talked about a lot. But honestly, like if you're like looking back at everything, the bar that sets up, and I said like the intro to Euphoria sets up a lot of this battle, but the "Don't tell no lies about me, I won't tell truths about you" line, it immediately paints Drake out to be a liar. It's like everything you say is a lie and everything I say is the truth.
Yeah.
And right there, it's like, oh, okay. And again, that entire intro, if you listen to it, he even says it like, I can even predict your angles. Like, I know what you're about to do. You listen to Mr. Morale, and now you're just going to fabricate a bunch of stuff because you listen to this album. Clearly, you didn't even listen to it well because on the Heart Part 6, you misinterpreted stuff. And that, again, hurts Drake's case as well of like, oh, I'm going to use this track against you. Wait a second, I completely didn't use this track correctly. And now it's like, okay, you can't even listen to this right. How am I going to believe all this other stuff when you got this wrong on this track?
Why are you
But
mentioning Millie Bobby Brown?
oh,
He didn't say anything about her. Like, no, you admitted guilt by even mentioning her, dog. Damn, Drake. Like, yo, like if you asked me a decade ago, I would have said I listened to more Drake than Kendrick. But yeah, over the last decade, I've realized that Drake was moving more into the pop genre, and I got more of an appreciation of Kendrick, and especially the time that he takes to kind of make the quality of music is very reminiscent to me of like Eminem and the people that I like grew up on in hip hop. So like I just enjoyed him more over that decade. But a decade ago, I used to listen to nothing but Drake. Drake was the hit maker. Drake's been a hit maker even over the past decade. But damn, dog, like that Heart Part 6, man, I put up the tweet. I was like, the Heart Part 6 cover art, Jay-Z Super Ugly cover art, because I've only seen this like once where the guy who is the more popular, the more known artist comes out with something that the other person doesn't even have to put out a response. That's the L. The L was you with your response.
Yeah.
I was like, I see no difference in the pictures. I was like, Jay-Z Super Ugly, Drake the Heart Part 6. I mean, he got ethered and he didn't know how to respond.
It's a shame. It's a shame that that track was so bad and didn't do I don't know what its intention was supposed to do. But it's a shame just because like Kendrick's probably not going to respond now. And that's unfortunate. I wanted more responses. I wanted this to keep going. And now if I'm Kendrick, it's like, well, that's pretty much the end of it. Like, I don't really need to say anything else. Drake is clearly done. So that's probably Kendrick should just put out one more track, just one more of like, he's dead. Just headshot him. Just
like a funeral. He needs to go to the funeral. Since
funeral track.
he did basically a therapy session mixed with a letter in Meet the Grams. He needs to do like a funeral for Drake with the family there now. And like that's the thing. Kendrick, even with like responding because Drake brought the family into it by mentioning his wife, he never really insulted his family. He's basically just been telling his family how shit Drake is.
Yeah. Rob is telling me to check out Jimmy Van's tweet. Okay, hold on. If it's the Drake shooting thing, we've covered that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. When I drop my kids at school, I have to drive by Drake's house on the way back home. Today's street is cordoned off by police shooting. Yeah.
Damn.
We've talked about that. We've referenced it. There's no new information out right now. It's just there was a shooting. Somebody's non-serious but injury, but did have to go to the hospital, and that's where we're at. Don't know anything else to it.
No.
Anything else?
Hopefully everyone is all right from that situation.
Yeah, look, we don't need people dying, getting shot over rap beef, but
even though I've seen multiple reactors say after listening to Not Like Us, it was like they be pausing it, they be like, nah, Drake, you gotta shoot this nigga.
I was gonna say, like, if there was any
multiple people say that.
I was gonna say, if there was any like beef that was gonna do it, it was gonna be this one, because I mean, we've seen diss tracks in the past. We've never seen anything to this level, though. Not since Biggie and Pac, certainly.
Yeah.
Jay-Z and Nas.
That was really just Tupac.
Yeah, like Jay-Z and Nas a little bit, but this got really, really personal. Yeah, Toy Soldier was kind of like that. He said he didn't want to take it to that level where people were dying. Like Ja Rule tried, but Ja Rule was so over his head lyrically that it didn't really matter. Like Drake and Kendrick are such a level above most. Again, they transcend rap, and you're talking about like the personal shots they are taking. Like Drake is being accused of being a pedophile and his entire camp is against him, or not his entire camp, but 20 out of 100 are against him, including one person who allegedly is right by his side. Drake is saying, like, oh, we set all that up, but also, yeah, there are some clowns in my camp. I do love the line, like, they're clowns in my camp. They fed you the information. I fed you the information.
Yeah, I was like, what? Are they the same people you're calling clowns that you had feed the fake information? What?
Yeah. And then, Drake is accusing Kendrick of beating his wife, of his wife cheating on him with his manager, of Kendrick cheating, but Kendrick kind of admitted that as much on Mr. Morale. So, like, that's not super. But Drake also saying, like, you don't actually bang like that. Like, you're not actually, like, gang affiliated like that. And I'm like, have you
And
watched anything on Kendrick?
He's not gang affiliated, and he doesn't plant any money trees where he's from. And he's
Which
like,
is a
he's
lot.
trying to rap like he's trying to free the slaves. Like Drake, he mentioned that you're not really you're not as black as you would like people to think you are. So by saying that, you played right into his hand.
Yeah. Like, one, Kendrick does give back to his community. Two, he is affiliated like that. And three, like that, like, you rap like you free the slaves line is like, shouldn't I don't know if I'm not the person to speak on this. But like, that was an off-putting line even to me, of like, why would you say this?
Yeah,
What?
I was like, with your history, and like immediately after listening to Family Matters, I went on Twitter and I saw multiple memes of Drake with the blackface saying he's trying to rap like he's trying to free the slaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, dude, you played right into his hand. And like, this was like the first rap battle that Drake's been in. And we seen and we mentioned a couple of them with like Meek Mill's Pusha T, and Pusha T exposed them for, hiding a child. But like, this is like the first one that Drake really showed that he is half white in this rivalry. Like even in like the Heart Part 6, where he's like, you're a piece of shit. I was like, he sound like a Xbox gamer. Like, he's like, you piece of shit, you prick. like I'm like, what did he do? Did he totally like break you down? Like, did he totally like, he pulled back all the curtains, all the veneer, all the like everything from you? And like, that Heart Part 6 was like the acceptance of an L. I'd never heard anything like that.
In the Euphoria track, he's like, how many black features you need till you feel like you're black enough? He went double there of like, how many black features from rap artists do you need to feel like you're accepted? And how many black body features do you need to feel like you were actually black enough? Like that, it's not only personal shots at each other that we discussed, it's personal shots at Drake's overall persona, that I would imagine, I can't speak on this really at all, not even fully, but like, I would imagine the black community feels a certain type of way about
Yeah.
Drake doing all this, because Kendrick explicitly says it, like, we don't like you doing this. Notice I say we, like, I'm what the
I
culture
represent what the
is
culture
feeling out here. Like,
Yeah,
black people don't like you doing this.
because that like, he was basically he's really talking about not like what the culture thinks, and also what the hip hop culture thinks, because there is so many people against them, and it's all people that used to be cool with Drake. That's the crazy thing. Like, he put Kendrick on his first tour. That's why he says the line, I think it's in Push-Ups, like, oh, you the king of LA, I had to put you on in your own city. Like, that's why, because he put him on his own concert. The Weeknd, he put Weeknd on, but then he freaking robbed Weeknd. He was like, yo, run your pockets for them songs, give me all them songs. And then said, now you're gonna sign the contract to the label. And Weeknd was like, I'm good. Like, I'm good. Yeah, you can have the songs. I appreciate you for putting me on, but I ain't signing with you. And Drake got upset. Like that, all that stuff. Future had made a damn album with Drake. Drake was living good, what, 2 years ago? That was just 2 years ago. They made an album together. But Future decided to team up with Metro Boomin because of their whole beef with each other and him stealing Metro's girl. Like, it's so deep. Like the 6 degrees of separation coming from Drake and how he has basically kind of burned bridges with so many people in hip hop, and that is like a microcosm of the culture and what black people think about him. Yeah, this whole beef has changed his perception within the black community and within the hip hop community. That's why I said like he might have to go the MGK route of, damn, he done killed me in this whole entire genre. I gotta go over here.
Drake, you're never gonna get another WrestleMania theme. Weekend's got WrestleMania themes for life. It don't matter. He's got them for life. It'll be fun. I do love that, like, the intro to every Young Metro track is, if Young Metro don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you. And
If
Metro doesn't trust Drake. Yeah. Like, I've never seen it besides Pac and Biggie. Like, and I was very young. I did not understand any of that back then. Like, get this personal. So I'm not surprised. And I hope, again, everything is okay. Hopefully it was just some type of no idea what could have happened with the shooting. But if it was in reference to this, I'm not saying I'm super surprised by it, because I've never seen it get this personal between two artists at this level.
Yeah. This is one of the greatest hip hop beefs, rap beefs of all time.
Oh, this weekend was like legendary.
Yeah, I think it is the greatest. I think it's number one. Like if we're gonna do a Mount Rushmore, it would be in the first spot for me now. Like we've never seen it at this level. Like the two biggest stars going back and forth. We never had this much content at the same time as well. Like, yeah, like the only comparison, like you said, is Biggie and Pac. But like I said, that was kind of one-sided. Like you had Who Shot Ya on the Biggie side, but Biggie said he made that before Tupac got shot. So if you believe him or not, whatever, but they weren't going back and forth like this. Like not like this. It wasn't like this. So, and then every other one that we would mention, Nas and Jay-Z is up there. Nas and Jay-Z with Biggie and Pac. That would be the other two in the Mount Rushmore with this one. But like, damn. Like every other one is kind of just too one-sided. This was back and forth, and it's real.
Jeff Driver saying, I'm gonna be real, beef is so interesting. I actually went and learned to listen to the full K-Dot album. Good Kid, Mad City is really good. I mean, that's probably his best album.
I mean, it's art. I've seen, like, doing my research, I've seen people say To Pimp a Butterfly is his best album. His last joint is his best album. Like, there's people that love all his albums and say each one is his best one.
That's true. I mean, you'll be hard pressed to find a Kendrick fan who doesn't find like every album just great. Like Section 80 is fantastic. I'm not the biggest fan of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I should probably re-listen to it, but on like my first listen, I was like, I don't know, not super for me. Because I like Kendrick. Yeah, Kendrick's great storyteller, and that's a lot. Mr. Morale is like a therapy session in audio form, and like it's not super for me. I like Kendrick when he is just getting bars off, and a lot of them are just like hater bars and just like rapping almost angry, like he just has something to prove. Like that's my favorite version. Okay, and that's probably why I like Euphoria the best, because it feels like he's rapping like he has something to prove on that. But yeah, every Kendrick album you're gonna find multiple tracks that are really, really good. My favorite honestly is probably Good Kid, Mad City. Pimp a Butterfly's up there. The Damn is really good. All of his albums are good.
Damn is probably my favorite.
Yeah, Louis, you're right. The Mr. Morale, the one track that is on Mr. Morale is an argument. I remember listening to that. I was like, I'm probably never gonna listen to this song again. Like listening to it the first time, I'm like, what is happening on this song? And I don't think I've ever listened to it again, legitimately. I'm just like, nope, this track is not for me. And I got no desire to listen to it. It's still a good album, but I'm just like, nah, it's just not for me. But every Kendrick album, you'll find multiple tracks that are good, and the entire album generally is good. Yeah. I hope Kendrick comes back with something. We need more Kendrick. That's all I want.
He don't have to, but yeah,
it'd be good if he just does an album. Like that was the rumor after Drake dropped Push Ups of why Kendrick was taking so long. Of he's dropping a new album. That's why he's not even going to address Drake until his album comes out. And hopefully that turns out to be true. He still addressed Drake, but it turns out to be true that he's dropping an album.
Not like us. Put Meet the Grams and Euphoria all on that.
Oh, I created like a playlist of just all the tracks that way I can listen to it, because Dat Piff and P Cut of Street Wars no longer exist, unfortunately. That's how I used to download all my Street Wars. Oh, that had all the diss tracks just on one album. There's like 30 volumes of that shit. I'd be listening to rappers I'd never heard of just because they were diss tracks, because I love me a good diss track. Like,
I remember I had one for M and Benzino. That's the
yeah.
Like that's what me and Jimmy were also discussing. We were just like, where does it rank? Like all-time diss tracks. I was like, Nail in the Coffin is up there for me. No Vaseline is up there for me. Ether. Like, damn, man. Like, Family Matters is gonna be remembered like Takeover. Like, Takeover is a great track, and it has been replayed over years, but everybody remembers it as the track before Ether.
Yeah.
And that's what Family Matters. Family Matters is going to be the track before Meet the Grams and Not Like Us.
All right. Let's get into a little bit of basketball here. Are the Nuggets done? I saw you predict Timberwolves in 5. I saw you predict Timberwolves in 5. Game 1, it's like, okay, you lose game 1, like it's fine. Like, sometimes happens. Sometimes it happens. You lose game 1. You weren't as prepared as you were hoping to be. They threw different stuff at you that caught you off guard. Game 2, it's not only how they lost, it's the way they lost, and just completely losing their composure with things. You don't, at least you shouldn't, see that out of a championship tested team. Like, the moment things were going wrong for them, they were complaining about stuff. Jamal Murray's throwing heat packs on the floor. Mike Malone's getting in the face of referees. Like, do I think the whistle was a little all over the place? Yes. It did seem like the Timberwolves were getting a slightly favorable whistle. And it seemed like they were allowed to get away with more physical play. But that's not the reason you lose a game by 30. Like, that doesn't help, but that's not the reason you lose by 30. You got to keep composed, keep calm, and like figure it out, play through that kind of stuff. And they had no answers. Anything Minnesota was doing. Like, Minnesota offensively, like, they're a fine team. The Denver defense is making them look like an unstoppable team. And defensively, they're shutting off everything Denver has. That was without Gobert last night. Like, I have a hard time just being like, yeah, the Nuggets are done because they're the defending champions. But I didn't see them have any answers last night, and I got no real reason to think they're gonna have answers unless Jokic is like, okay, all right, I'm done fucking around. Like, that should have been his mindset last night, and it wasn't. But it's really got to be his mindset going to Minnesota.
I'll tell you why it's not his mindset, because the Wolves have the roster of how to beat the Nuggets. We beat the Nuggets. I know, Mickey Mouse, goofy title ring, whatever. But we beat the Nuggets not because we got LeBron James. It's because we had a 3-headed monster of big men we had JaVale McGee, we had Dwight Howard, and we had Anthony Davis. Dwight Howard was to bump and be in the post with Jokic. You had JaVale McGee kind of roaming around and playing defense off the ball for guys like Jamal Murray, so he wasn't going crazy like he did in the previous series against like all the other teams in the bubble. And then we also had AD putting up double doubles and playing the best basketball that he was ever able to do and stretch the floor. That's what the Timberwolves have. They got the stretch, the guy that's stretching the floor in Cat. They got Rudy Gobert, and they don't even need Rudy Gobert apparently, like they did last night, winning by 30. Rudy Gobert is the guy that was bumping in the paint with Jokic, like Dwight Howard was, and then the guy roaming is Naz Reid, who seems like he might win Sixth Man of the Year. So like, yo, like
I think he's already won Sixth Man of the
Year.
Oh,
he's already won it. So yeah, he's already won it. See, like, yo, they have that three-headed monster as big man, and then the Lakers in 2020, and then had LeBron James, one of the best players in the league, one of the best clutch players of all time. 2024, fast forward, they got the three-headed monster of big men, and then they got one of the best clutch players in the league today in Anthony Edwards, who is taking that next step on what is it? First things first, over on FS1, they talk about it, Club Superstar, and there's a couple of guys outside of Club Superstar. Anthony Edwards in this playoffs has knocked down the freaking door. He has took down the foundation of Club Superstar. He's like, I'm in. Like, he's like, no, it's not. I'm not going through qualifications. I'm here. I'm a superstar, and he is showing why. And that's why I put it out there. I put the tweet T-Wolves in 5 in the first half of game 1 because I saw what was about to happen. I was like, the Nuggets aren't ready for this. They thinking that they play in the T-Wolves of last year. This team has developed good chemistry. They are the best defense in the league today. They have showed that in the first 2 games in Denver, and we're going to Minnesota with the Wolves up 2-0. I think Denver can steal 1 in Minnesota. I don't know if they can steal back-to-back with the defense they're playing right now, and especially if Rudy Gobert can come back, at least for like game 3, game 4, whatever.
Oh, I imagine. I mean, he only missed game 2 because the birth of this kid. You know, the first kid, you want to be there for the birth. So I don't.
Hey, I don't know the wife. You know, I was there for my missus after the birth of a kid, so I don't know if he wants to take another game because they might feel like, yo, you can take another game off. We good. like, yo, after winning by 30 in Denver, like you can tell him, like, yo, stay at home with your family. Come back for game 4. We good.
And Jamal Murray is hurt, but look, he's playing. So I don't offer too many excuses if he's going to be out there and he's going to be playing. Reggie Jackson might be done for the series. They don't have a whole lot of guards out there. This is where Jokic is legitimately got to step up and really carry things and like really take over. Like they're going to need like a 50-point game out of him. And
I don't think he can do it against that three-headed monster. Like, I don't think he can. He's gonna get his. He's always gonna get his. He'll put up his 2020 with 10 assists. But like, I don't think he can be the effective player where he's like the most impactful player on the floor when he has those 3 guys that are defending him and making things hard for him on the offensive end. On the defensive end as well.
Maybe he can't. I mean, maybe he can't because he doesn't look like he has any answers right now.
Jamal Murray turned into Dylan Brooks. It's like when he doesn't versus the Lakers, he turns into Michael Carter Williams. Like, what are we doing?
It doesn't look like they have any answers after 2 games. I thought after game 1, they lost game 1. It was competitive for the most part. And then Naz Reid kind of hit some big shots in the 4th quarter. And that was kind of the end of that. The Nuggets didn't have any, the Nuggets couldn't, usually they clutch out a lot of games and they couldn't clutch that one out like we've seen in the past. Game 2, they just had nothing. like absolutely nothing. Like the Timberwolves were disrupting every single action they were trying to run. I don't know what Denver does to fix that. If Murray doesn't have the same explosiveness, the same drive he typically does, that's obviously a detriment for them. If Jokic can't get going, Michael Porter Jr., they got to get more out of him just as a scorer. Like he should be a guy who can get his own shot. And like he was hesitant last night. Like Karl Anthony Towns was all over him last night. And the whole team just looked like they didn't know what they were doing. Like I've never seen a championship team like that just look so lost and confused out there. And it's not like they're not familiar with Minnesota. Like one, they played them last year. I know it's a different team, but at the same time, it's still a lot of the same core players. Like
Yeah.
not like Minnesota added anybody in the offseason that's like, oh, this really changed the team around. They played them all season. Like they're in the same conference. They're in the same division. They're in the Northwest Division. So they're very familiar. They played them like a month ago in a pretty big game that decided the tiebreaker. It's why the Nuggets got the 2 seed and the Timberwolves got the 3 seed because of the game where the Nuggets beat them a month ago. So it's not like they're not familiar with Minnesota. It's like, oh, we just haven't seen much of this team. It's not that at all. They just look very confused. This might happen if we do get a Final Four: Minnesota, OKC, Cleveland, and Indiana. I don't think we will. I think the East will at least give us New York and Boston.
Yeah. It ain't happening. Sorry, Cleveland fans. Y'all ain't beating. No, I don't see y'all beating Boston and Indiana. I think that was your best bet last night to win one in New York in these first 2 at least.
They were right in that game. Some of the calls down the stretch.
It was very, very friendly to the Knicks. Again,
they gotta let them play. That screen call to basically decide the game was so was it a correct
especially
call?
when it's going back and forth? Like
you already missed the call off of when it hit Naismith's hand and you called it off of his foot.
Yeah.
You've already missed. You even missed the call that they had to replay off of Brunson when they called it off of Brunson, but it hit, I guess it was Naismith's foot on that. They'd challenge that on that replay. The contact call that was deemed, incidental contact on Brunson, like the calls were just awful down the stretch. And the illegal screen, like if you're gonna call that, Draymond Green shouldn't be in the league.
A lot of those calls just made me be like, I hate to say it, but it seems like the league wants the Knicks in the conference finals. I'm sorry to create that narrative, but I'm from New York. I'm from New York and I'm a Lakers fan. I know I can tell a mile away when NBA refs want a team to be in the conference finals or in finals. I've benefited from it, people. I am identifying it for you Knicks fans that you should be happy. The league is in your favor.
I just wish we got a satisfying conclusion out of the game of let the Pacers run their offense and see if they could get a shot to win or lose the game. Like I don't want the refs deciding this stuff on a moving screen call. Boston's going to easily beat Cleveland. And by easily, I mean they're going to lose a game they have no business losing, but still win the series.
Yeah, I got Boston in 6.
I think Boston in 5.
That's
Cleveland. Cleveland failing to win at home against Orlando, or failing to win on the road against Orlando, little worrisome. Mitchell is playing through injuries. Darius Garland's very hit and miss. Jared Allen's out right now. I know Porzingis is out for Boston, but they're a better team just overall.
That is true.
But Boston will lose a game that they shouldn't lose. They might lose 2 that they shouldn't lose.
That's why I think they're going to lose 2 that they shouldn't lose. So that's why I got Boston in 6. In the New York Indiana series, I'm going to go with the Knicks in 7. I think Indiana will play them hard, and they'll probably win most of their home games. And they'll probably steal one in New York.
Yeah, the pause for the Knicks could be the Pacers' pace is a
Yes.
lot. And the Knicks don't
They
have
run up that court, even if it's a made basket by the Knicks. Like that was
Yeah.
what I was seeing in the first half, especially. Like that was a big thing that commentary mentioned. Like Indiana has the most in the points in the paint, but they also give up the most. Like when the Knicks was taking stupid threes, I'm like, yo, just attack the basket on these guys. Like you can get a basket in the paint anytime you want against the Pacers.
the pace could be something for the Knicks because the Knicks don't have much of a bench, and even if they did, Thibodeau only plays the starters. Like they already played a lot of minutes against the Sixers, which was a very physical series. Now you're playing a lot of minutes against the Pacers in a series that you're gonna have to run a lot. It's possible the Pacers play a longer game of a series and like win it in 7 because the Knicks tire out. I think overall the Knicks are a better team though.
Yeah. They are.
Anything else?
Definitely.
Anything else for basketball?
West, I already said it. T-Wolves in 5. And I'm gonna go Mavs in 7.
Okay. That's fair.
You don't have any predictions?
No. I predict I'm gonna be miserable for the next 2 weeks. That's my prediction.
I'm positive of that as well.
Yeah.
But we need our good friend Cher Delaware here.
Oh, I should probably invite her.
So we can talk about other things. We got to Cher listen to all the diss tracks. If she hasn't listened to the Kendrick tracks, we should play it since Kendrick is allowing us to play it.
I feel like she's probably listened to it just because like you don't have a choice. Like,
if you went on social media or YouTube, I've seen so many reactor reactions to this.
Yeah,
I love the reactor videos, especially to Not Like Us, because I know when they're gonna give us the big reactions every
right. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the playoffs beginning tonight. Just
hey, you got to buy in the first round at least.
Nah, we had to win 4 games.
Buy. It's a sweep is basically like a buy for me.
You still got to win the game.
If you're the number 1 seed and facing the 8th seed.
We haven't played in like a week. There's hockey playoffs as well. It's just, Hello, Cher.
I like the way you do business.
I didn't hear that. I don't know what it was.
I think I misclicked it. I don't. Sorry. It was. I like the way you do business, but I did not mean to.
Whenever that stuff comes on, it's muted for me, so I never hear it.
That's weird.
There you go.
How are you doing today, Cher?
Here, I'm fine.
Have you listened to any of the Drake and Kendrick tracks?
0.
See?
Wow.
Because Drake is a creep and Kendrick defended a creep, and I will not be giving either of them streams.
Oh, okay.
All right,
saying that you think that R. Kelly's music should stay on Spotify is a little much for me. So
fair. I can't really argue against that.
I'm like, I don't like either of them, so they can have their beef. I don't care. That's what my whole timeline was the other day. So I had to mute both of their names. But then it put wrestling stuff back on my timeline, and I'm like, God.
That sounds awful as well. All right, well, we'll talk about the challenge here. SP3, you want to do some recaps for the latest episode of the challenge?
Damn, what the hell happened? You're pulling me out of this Kendrick and Drake rabbit hole I'm in and making me remember last Wednesday.
Okay,
I wish
No,
that it
but
wasn't on Wednesdays, because it being the day after the show, like, holy.
Yeah.
and like because we do so much on this show, it's not in my mind to rewatch it. Like I do an X-Men 97 review. I watched that show like 3-4 times, and that drops. I
Yeah.
watched that before the challenge on Wednesday mornings, but I wind up watching it like twice before I review it. This one, I don't rewatch it. I only like watch like the reviews of it, and that's where my memory is at. So
Well, and you have so many freaking podcasts too. Like, it's not like you're not talking about anything else throughout the
and 2
week.
4-year-olds. So like it's a lot on my head.
I don't have any other podcasts, and I can't remember what happened. So
I do know. Okay, this was the one following Cara beating Rachel.
Yes.
So okay, I got the timeline in my head.
You got it.
Okay.
So far as they come back to the house, and we have a session of Brandon and Jasmine basically trying to comfort each other because they know they effed up with Cara, and they are basically going to the one person in the house that is going to say the things to make them feel better and make them feel like they made the right decision, but they obviously there's no one in the conversation that's going to tell them the truth of you shouldn't have done it so early. But we move on from that. We get some really weird stuff with Laurel and Nicole where they're wrestling
Oh God.
I was
chasing each
uncomfortable.
other,
I was
and
uncomfortable.
a lot of people were uncomfortable. Like Cara was like looking and like, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? Like, what the hell is going on there? But yeah, and they're like, Laura was crawling on the pool table. Oh, what are we doing? Why are we spending
Yeah.
so much time? And then you follow that cringeworthy moment, and I have to watch two people from this show I love just have a total breakdown of their friendship, it seems, in live living color time. And it's all because Leroy wanted to bring them together, but it wasn't the right time. Lauren Cara's telling him, like, I feel attacked. I feel like everybody's against me. And Leroy was like, well, yeah, when you got paid, you were kind of like standoffish. So, and he's like, no, I'm not standoffish. I just genuinely feel hurt. And to hear that it's my other friend Cam that is the one kind of orchestrating everything, that really sucks. It really hurts. So Leroy brings Cara to Cam's room, and Cara just wants to know, like, what's the issue? Why do you have an issue with me? And Cam starts saying, like, oh, I asked everybody if they would vote for me for Ayanna and Rachel, and you didn't. And Cara immediately, like, it's like, Cara, just let her say what she needs to say. Just let her say what she needs to say. This is where Cara messed up here. This was the one time I will say Cara did mess up here, because she just cuts her off and she's like, oh, Cam, I knew you were going to do this. And I understand why she feels like that, because Cam got what she wanted. So why are you so upset? Why are you using this as the thing to try to attack? And
it feels like an excuse.
Yeah, it's just an excuse. It's just an excuse. So I understand why Cara was like had that response, but Cara, you got to give her time to just get it all out. Get it all out so she can look stupid. If Cara just let it get all out and just said, like, I knew you were gonna do this, like, afterwards, then I would have no issue with Cara. But it was like a total breakdown. There was no way this was gonna be a calm conversation once Cara cut her off. So they're talking over each other. Yeah, they're yelling at each other. And then Cara says, like, she was really hurt by Brandon because Brandon's there now. And Brandon's like, oh, I got married, I had a kid, I got divorced, and you didn't hit me up for any of that. And that's just an excuse. It's also an excuse too. Like, you were cool with her. You did interviews on your way to the house saying that Cara was your number one. So, like, don't give us that excuse now. Don't say that now. Like, don't do that, sir. Don't do that. That's just wrong. And I understood why Cara was so frustrated. But like I said, I think that Cara was in the wrong in that situation.
I want to butt in real quick on the, like, you didn't reach out thing. Like, I hate when people do stuff. We are adults. We all have so much shit going on in our own lives. Like, I mean, like, okay, my birthday was last week, and like, I don't pay attention to other people's birthdays typically, unless I see people saying like happy birthday on Twitter, or unless I just know somebody's birthday. I forget it. Like, I barely even know when anything is going on. So I don't ever want anyone to like take it personally if I'm not telling you happy birthday. And like, I appreciate when people tell me happy birthday, but I'm not upset if somebody doesn't either. So it's always strange to me when somebody's like, well, they didn't reach out to me for 2 weeks after, like, I mean, like, I did see something on Twitter recently about a guy that had like major surgery, and for months none of his friends reached out. Okay, if they're supposed to be like your closest friends, absolutely. I can see being upset about that. But like, if I didn't reach out the day that you had surgery, don't be mad. Like, you gotta calm down a little bit.
I
Like,
do think it seemed like Cara was like, okay, we're going to this game together, we're going in, and Brandon, he mentioned 8 years, like they hadn't
yeah.
really talked. So I do think there is a difference between, all right, you didn't reach out because when I was going through all of this, and you didn't really talk to me for 8 years, and you think we were coming into this game like being on super friendly terms, and it's like, I didn't
think
quite see
too,
it the same way.
It's a difference in a real friendship and a coworker friendship.
Right.
Because there seemed more like a coworker friendship. Like, I have friends at work that I never talk to outside of work, and I would consider them my friends, but like, they have their area and that's where I keep them, like, that's what it seemed like to me. Like, yeah, like you said, like they didn't talk for 8 years. They're on a show together again. Now they're talking again. And it felt like he took it more personally. And she was like, I was removed from that. Like, I kind of wasn't talking to anybody or whatever, but like, if you're not talking for 8 years, you're not close enough friends that she should have to reach out when you have a baby or whatever.
And he
like,
said that. He
neither
literally
of you are
said
talking
that
to each other for 8 years. It's not like it's just her. Like, you're not talking to her either. So, I mean, if you don't want to work with her on the show, then make it clear to her that you don't want to work with her on the show, because that's such a different world. Because it's not like it's just like, oh, we have desks next to each other in an office. Like, you have to have people that you work with on there. And especially for Cara, she seems like she expects it to always be the same. There's like 10 people that if they're on a show together, she expects them to always work with her. Yeah. But that's not how it always works, because sometimes they've been on a show since then and they want to work with somebody else, or they've established a relationship with somebody else. And I think she's like almost naive in that sense, which is weird because she's not near as naive as she used to be. Like, when Cara came on that show, oh my God, she was so freaking naive about everything. She's not near as bad as she used to be, but I still think she has that in that sense that she's like, but we worked together one season 10 years ago, so why are we not working together now? And she just assumes. She always just assumes somebody else's too.
I don't think she's assuming in this situation.
With him, she didn't assume.
Yeah,
with
because
him,
this is what he was saying, and I think
I think
for the most part, that's probably what Cam and Leroy were also saying, because they've always worked together, Cara and Cam, from Cam's first season, Vendetta's on.
When he was like, we haven't made a decision yet, we don't know what we're gonna do.
Exactly.
That should have been a light bulb for her. That was like, oh, he's not going to be on my side. Like,
I do love that Leroy like tried to talk to Cara, and it's like, all right, let's go ahead, let's settle this, let's get everybody in the room, and that shit blew up in like 3 seconds. Like, Cam couldn't say 2 words, and Cara was cutting her off, and they were going at each other.
And that's such a hard spot. That's such a hard spot for Lee too, because like, he has known Cara for so long, and they've been friends. But then that's his freaking.
But Cara has also screwed him over.
Yeah,
I always remember the Vendetta's vote when she voted to keep Kyle instead of Leroy. So you can use that as an excuse instead of the vote.
Cam's. I mean, they're not married, but they might as well be married. Like, so it's such a weird situation to be put in. He's like, I just want us to work together. Like, Leroy's such a peacemaker, and he really thought that was going to work. He really thought that he had a plan.
His confessional basically told us that he's on Cara's side in this situation, because he said they're both right. He would never say Cam's wrong. He said they're both right. That means that he thinks Cara's right. Like, I know, me and Jeremy know terminology when you deal with wives or misses.
Oh yeah. 100%. 100%. Like if I'm, and I mean, it's that way. I have more guy friends than I do girlfriends. It's that way in that situation. They'll never say you're wrong. It's always like, well, I can see both sides of it. Like, I mean, that's you got to be the middleman on things.
Can't ever say you're wrong, honey, but I can see her point.
Yeah. And so he's like, I'm absolutely not going to say that my basically wife who's in there pumping for our baby is wrong. So I can see both sides in this situation. This is off topic, but did you see the clip? I cannot think of who the basketball player was that they asked him like what makes him unhappy, and he said arguing with my wife, that makes me unhappy. And I was like, buddy, you're about to be unhappy.
Oh, Josh Hart. Yeah, that was Josh Hart. Yes, yeah. He's hilarious.
I'm like, you about to stay unhappy. Like you just said that to the media.
Yes, absolutely hilarious. Josh
like
Hart.
Yeah, it's the same. It's in the same vein there. Like, no, you just gotta
say that.
Nothing my wife has ever done has ever made me unhappy. So I don't know.
But yes, we get that argument, and then from there we go to the challenge, and I'm trying to remember what the challenge was because it was a male's
the
day.
Challenge was the bobsledding.
I think this was a really good challenge in my opinion because it all came down to strategy. So it's basically a callback to the Duel 2 where they had the big bobbleheads. It's like circular bobbleheads, but it's huge on your head. And it's got a face of yourself with like bobbly little eyes, but it has like a little thing where you could see everything. And in the Duel 2, they had to like race with those. In this one, it was like a combination where they had to race, then go to a bobsled. While they're racing to get to the bobsled, TJ is going on the bobsled and going down the racetrack, and then he's going to a valve where he cuts the valve on where it's taking water, it's draining water from your valve, and then you get on the bobsled and you have to collect water stations from to basically put in your valve. So then when you cut off the drain, it's basically each team is judged on how much water per minute they got. So it came down to how long it took them and how much water they collected. So the first team completely fucked up because of Brad. Brad was very confident heading into this one.
They were yelling at Brad.
He thought he was all good because he's like, I did this in Duel 2. I'm good for this. It's all going to be all fine and dandy. But he's like knocking water all over the place. They only collect like a few of the waters because Brad goes first and he's knocking down everything so nobody else can grab any water. So they like completely whiff on this one. He has like Nicole and Leroy, who never gets mad at anyone. He was legitimately pissed. Nicole was a little over the top. It's not even a girl's day. Like, I don't know why Nicole had to be the one getting in his face and yelling at him. He got it. He understood. I think she was dragging it a little bit, but damn, Brad. We love you, Brad, but damn.
Yeah, Brad was not good in this challenge. Just knocking the water off. Nicole is screaming at him as they're going down the bobsled. Like, Brad, you idiot, stop.
You idiot, stop. Oh, so great. Then we had Carver's team, which I believe was like the red team or something like that. Now they had the strategy of basically taking their time. Basically, they would get to a water station, they would stop their bobsled, grab all 3 waters, pull it down, and then keep going. So they took the longest. They took about like 5 minutes for their joint, but they collected the most water. So they went with the strategy of trying to get the most water instead of no matter what time it takes them. I believe the team that won, it came down to Derek being the MVP because Derek was going down at a good speed and collecting everything. Like, he was grabbing everything out there, and he had the strategy of putting it in his shirt. which was different from Brad's team. He went right after Brad's team. So he had that strategy of putting it in his shirt. So they collected a lot of water. They were at a good speed. And I believe Brandon's team went after Kara's team, and he was talking a whole bunch of shit like, oh, Kara's team took a day to do this. They took like an hour. So they took like maybe like 30 seconds less than Kara's team, and they collected a good amount of water, like I think second best, but it was Derek's team that got the win.
I'm listening to you, but I have to turn off my camera for a moment.
No worries. So Derek's team wins. The losers.
I was surprised. Like, if you look at the team on paper, it's like Derek, Steve. I think Avery was on that team.
Kefla, is it Kefla on that team? Yeah, because he protected his star. Yeah.
Like that team did not look. I mean, it wasn't like a physical competition or anything, but like that team, you would not think, oh yeah, this is going to be the team to win, and they won. Good on them. Tina was on that team. It wasn't Avery, it was Tina. I was thinking of like any team with Tina. I just think like, yeah, they're fucked.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Avery, I think I saw her early in the episode. I think the episode started off. It actually didn't start off with the argument with Kara and Cam. I think after the Nicole bit, they did a bit with Leroy giving a haircut to Adam.
Yeah, to Adam.
And I think Cam was around, Avery was around. And I was like, every time Avery is around in any type of scene that has Adam, I'm like, see y'all. I see why she's around. Just watching him get his haircut. I was like, that would be weird to me if I didn't do my due diligence. But yeah, that they won. Derek's team won, the orange team, so they were good. They were safe. Kara's team was in the middle group, so they had the vote on who was in, and then everybody else. So Brandon's team, Leroy's team was in the losers bracket, so they were gonna be up for elimination. So Kara went in there and basically controlled things. People were just like, "We gonna give Kara what she wants." Kara wants Leroy versus Brandon. That's what's I have never seen this quick of a turnaround of revenge. Like this shit. This was like Battle of the X's 2 levels of quickness. Like when Bananas and Nani came back into the house after the shit, after Wes and Teresa got rid of them, and then they came back into the house, and then the very next episode, Wes was in elimination and went out. You basically Bananas getting his revenge. That's how quick the turnaround for revenge was for Brandon, Cam, and Leroy. And it's just like, Cam's like, oh, yeah, we understood when we made the move that it could come back and get us. I don't think Leroy expected this, though.
No.
Leroy didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, I don't think they expected, like you said, like this quick. Like that was super quick of when it was last episode they did this, and this episode done. Like Leroy's going in against Brandon.
So yeah, that was the elimination. In between that, the vote with Kara basically getting her way with everybody kind of voting for her, and even Veronica, they gave her like a confessional during the deliberation where she was like, they inadvertently, like they were trying to get rid of a strong person, but they inadvertently started a war with me as well. So yeah, she was like, Leroy and Brandon, like y'all tried to come at, y'all got rid of Rachel. Now I'm coming for you. I was like, fucked up. Like, can we get a confessional with Cam accepting that she messed this up for them? Like, they could have went to the end. If it was Cam, Leroy, Laurel, and Kara working with each other, they could have made it to the end. But you messed all this up.
I wonder too if Cam thought she couldn't beat Kara in the final.
I think that's
100% the reason. But if that's the reason, let that be the reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we know Cam. Cam's never going to say that. She's never going to say.
Yeah, she's never going to outright. Yeah.
But I mean, like, no one would fault her for being like, I just had a baby. I don't think that I can, But I 100%. I think that that's what it was, and she was just finding reasons to make it be something else,
which is ugly. It's not cool. It's not
no.
Anyway, but that leads to the elimination: Brandon versus Leroy. And this week they actually made a good choice for the elimination, in my opinion, with this like maze thing where they both guys were basically hung above the elimination ground, and they had this big ass maze that they were connected to by their hands and feet, and they basically had to get 5 balls into the middle and get them into these little like circles around a star. And we saw like the different like strategy with the two people. Like Brandon went by it where he was going 1 ball at a time, basically trying to get 1 ball into the circle and get that into the little thing and then do the next ball. He was like kind of like filtering all the balls into one section and doing it 1 at a time. Meanwhile, Leroy at first, he was just panicking. He was just like like a freaking making like an earthquake for all the balls in the maze and stuff. But then eventually he basically did it where he got all the balls into the middle portion, and then he just basically went 1 by 1 getting them into the circular part. So Brandon got up to like a 3-0 lead, but then Leroy, once he started going, it was a wrap. Like he got 1, 2, 3 and tied it up. Then Brandon got a 4th, and then Leroy got his 4th and his 5th one in, and he won. So like, and even during the elimination, we got a confessional from Cara, and Cara said like she was rooting for Brandon because she was like, with Leroy, I know he's going to be with Cam and they're going to be against me, and that's harder to go against. At least with Brandon, maybe I could talk him into coming back on my side. So like, yeah. And then she gave the confessional after Brandon left and was like, you know, I'm going to try to reach out more, which I appreciate her saying that. And hopefully she did do that after the show, that she's going to reach out more. But she also told them a lesson, like, don't betray your friends. Like, why would you do that?
Yep.
The strategies for this, so it's like, I don't know if you guys have ever gotten the like those little puzzles. You get them at like the dentist office. Sometimes the kids will bring these things home with going after they go to like the library or the dentist office. It's just a little, just like this thing, and you have to get like 2 balls and keep them in the same hole at the same time. That's literally all it is, except a bigger version, and you're hanging hanging from this platform or just this apparatus to try to do this. Leroy just like jerking the thing around to try to get it. I was like, I don't feel like this is how you should do it, but
he had
it worked
a very
out for
bad
him.
strategy.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out for him in the
worked.
end. Yeah, it worked out in the end, and it was very close, and Leroy was able to pull it off. I like Leroy. I'm glad he was able to stay. We'll see. Yeah, I did. Cara was like, all right, I got to root for Brandon because Leroy's definitely with Cam, so I know that's a vote against me. And then, Leroy had a star to take, and there was really only 1 star to take from the male side of things, so he took Adam's star.
Yep. He was like, if I take it from you, you won't take it back. He was like, nope, I'm definitely going to do that. But he had basically 1 choice to kind of take it from him. He could have took a star for Cam, but Cam didn't want that. So,
yeah. Oh, there you go. That was let's pull up the, see who got eliminated, who had Brandon. I forgot who drafted Brandon.
Yeah.
I think we're also behind on who had Rachel.
I think that was me.
Yeah, you had Rachel, SP3. I'll show so that way. Okay. So yeah, Rachel is gone, and Cher had Brandon. There we go.
Jesus, man, I got Cam, and I don't even like her anymore.
I'm feeling okay. Oh, Tony's gone as well. So that's...
Yep, another one for sure.
Yeah.
Damn it.
And Cyrus is gone, right?
Yep. Another one for me.
All right.
Jeremy's sitting pretty.
Damn, Jeremy.
Jeremy's sitting pretty.
My strategy was just, I'm banking on Cara for the females, and then the males, I am just hoping somebody pulls it out. That was my strategy.
I mean, to be fair, there's only going to be 1 winner.
Yeah, though. There's only 1 winner, so.
Yeah, so I tried to just play play as many cards as I could for on the male side and just bank on the strongest female.
That's fair.
Thank God we didn't talk about Laurel and.
Oh man, yeah, the bedroom scene. I didn't want to talk about it.
Oh God, I was.
And then the scene with Flora,
doing the, like,
Flora
skip
trying to be a
15
good mom.
thing the whole time. I'm like, skip 15 seconds, skip 15. Like, I don't want to watch this. No, it was bad.
And
All right,
Flora trying to be a good mom and try to talk to Nicole. Like, you like this. You like the attention. That's why you're like this. And like them being in the bed with each other. And then Nicole trying to do the responsible thing. It seemed like trying to be like, create some distance and some boundaries.
Was it the responsible thing?
No, not really. No, not really. No, not really. But it like Laurel's response of like, no, this is not what you want. This is not, you just pushed everything.
Yeah.
Like, no, it was just very both sides.
She wants the toxicity.
All right, it's been a while since we played.
Well, sadly, I cannot do the game today.
Oh no!
You can do my parts if you want.
No, that's no fun.
No, we can't do that.
But I have a doctor's appointment, so I can't do the game today.
All right. Well, I guess
we're gonna have to start with the game next week.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we'll have to do.
It's been like, I think it was.
I
like
know it's been forever since we played it. That's fine. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. All right. Well, in that case, Cher, do you want to plug anything?
Come back here next week and we can play the game. Let me make sure I don't have anything next week.
Yeah.
Oh, I might have something.
Oh, no.
So I might have to
never
rain checks next week.
Well, I don't have anything the rest of the month on Tuesdays, so
we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Plug anything?
Check out wrestling YouTube channel True Hill Heat. I got over there Rated Raw review with Romeo coming up at 2:05 p.m. Eastern time, and we're gonna have our video with my star ratings of the Kendrick Lamar versus Drake rivalry. That's gonna be up on the channel probably this week.
There we go. All right. I don't have anything to plug. Bye, everybody.